Okay, I figured out my key to success. Now I'm locked in. I learned how to open doors like a locksmith.
Welcome back. You're now locked in with DK and Atwood. I'm Atwood, killer to my left. DK on the mats here at the Next Element Academy, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So something that was interesting that we were talking about before we started recording here is the Nevada State Athletic Commission is doing something new where I guess beforehand it was kind of like taboo for judges to really speak to the media. But I guess some media had brought it to their attention. Like, why can't we come in there to, you know, the post-fight meetings that all commissions have with officials and stuff? And they're like, well, we never said that you couldn't. So now media is starting to go into these meetings and kind of get explanations from the judges on why they've judged rounds and fights the way they did, which I think is a huge step. You know, in terms of like transparency.
Absolutely,
with
man.
MMA.
I think it's it could be a little controversial to them, you know what I'm saying, to the actual judges, because how many of those judges have been ridiculed, right, like for their judging. Right. Let's say they do a bad call one night, like they always do, and then next thing you know, they're at the interview and media is just roasting them.
Yep.
You know,
and maybe they don't have adequate explanation. No, you know, I'm kind of like, I think that's a great step, right? But I also believe that for most people, and we've talked about this before, most people just don't understand how fights are scored. So, like, especially like casual fans and even some of the media, right? Like, even when you look at the criteria and you see how they're supposed to be judged, you could kind of, then you're like, okay, well, maybe that's why this round was given to this person. But there's just sometimes, like recently, where you're just like, huh? Like the Alexa Grasso and Valentina fight, a 10-8 in the last round. You're just like, huh?
Where was the dominance at?
Right.
Because we talked about, what episode was that? It was like
a couple episodes back. I think this is like episode 26 or something.
Yeah, so
which, by the way, wow. Like, that went by fast. Appreciate all the people that tune in every week.
By week. So we've been doing this for 26 weeks, man.
Yep, 26
That's
weeks.
Crazy. Almost, you know, we're almost halfway. No, yeah, we're halfway to a year.
Yeah,
26 is wow.
Because I can't remember when the first. I can't even remember when we did the first episode. but yeah, we got to be approaching halfway.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about the judging criteria for a 10-8 round in one of the earlier.
Yeah, and I went
episodes.
by the book on it too.
So that was early on. I want to say that was probably within one of the before, like at least 1 through 10, somewhere around in there.
It's somewhere. It's probably somewhere like halfway through. Yeah, we've done. I mean, it's only 26, but it feels like so many more than that. But yeah, we went over it, and I had the handbook, all the notes on my computer, and I went through and I talked about all of it. And you know, I know I've also mentioned to you before that I was on a Zoom call months back, and it had like the who's who of, you know, athletic commission, judging, and refs on this call, and they were all talking about judging, right? And you know how they wanted to see more 10-8s and stuff like that. But, you know, and we mentioned this, even 10-7s. A lot of people don't know that 10-7 is a thing. You just rarely see them because the fights always get stopped before that can happen.
Boxing, I think you see more 10-8s than you do
exactly
than you do MMA.
I mean, usually for a 10-7, I mean, it has to be utter dominance. And when you see that in MMA, somebody's getting knocked out or subbed. They're getting finished.
Yeah, the thing about MMA, it's like it's so...
Is that thing on? So before we started the pod, DK was in here sparring. He did some sparring rounds with Austin, so that's why he had that thing. I don't even know that. I mean, I'm sure the mic picked it up, but it probably wasn't even that loud, to be honest with you. But now you don't have to worry. So what were you saying? Can you remember?
No, I can't. I don't remember at all. What we were talking about.
So we were talking about 10-8s.
Oh yeah, and boxing, right? Yeah. And boxing, you get 10-8s all the time. I don't think I've ever seen a 10-7 in boxing. But yeah, I don't think I ever have. But MMA, there's so many different ways to win, right? So you'll get a lot of people that get in the stand up. They'll stand up and, punch, punch, punch. Maybe they'll kick. And then they kind of dance around a little bit, dance around, punch, 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 kick. You get these people that are, they're kind of hesitant, if you will, with MMA. Yeah. And when you get those hesitant people sometimes, that other person, if their foot's on the gas, it can be a 10-8 round. Yeah. But I just don't know why MMA judges don't score as many 10-8 rounds. Maybe it's because it is so dynamic and there is so many different things going on. You can punch, you can kick. Let's say I punch your face up a little bit, but you add in some kicks and stuff like that. So who knows the way they're doing it or the way they're scoring things as far as like that's concerned. But I just boxing's kind of like a one-dimensional. It's one thing you're doing. Yep. With MMA, it's like you ever seen a Rubik's Cube that has 8 sides on it?
No.
So they make Rubik's Cubes that have like 8 sides on them. They're like super hard. And I feel like that's MMA, and boxing's just a regular
square.
Just a square.
Oh, yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
So like maybe one person, maybe one judge is looking at a square Rubik's Cube, a fight, right? Instead of the 8-sided Rubik's Cube or something, which is a weird analogy, especially for,
but it makes sense.
MMA fighters.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And we've kind of talked about that before too, like, judges being placed where they are around the cage. One judge is going to have a better view than the other. So they're just seeing things differently. And there's 3 judges in boxing as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but then it's a square. So, there's not as many different angles and
things you don't have a cage in your way.
Right, exactly.
You just got the ropes and different things like that. But it's I don't know, man. Judging is hard. Yeah, being a judge on the outside, trying to let other people like, I think this guy won that fight because this reason. Yep. It's difficult. They got a hard job.
They do,
but
man.
I think that having the opportunity to listen to or have media interview them, so you can listen to their, I guess, rebuttals, if you will, and the explanation of their scoring, I think it's going to help MMA. I think it's going to help MMA a lot as far as like moving into a better direction to where it's not as controversial.
Right. But the thing that I thought about too, because I was like, I always try to look at like pros and cons, right? And I was trying to think of cons. I was like, well, maybe it's like when, say you're a judge, right? And you're judging about, and you're like, man, this is how I would judge it, but you're like, this is going to get very controversial, and I'm going to have to talk to media after the fight. I just wonder if it's going to sway how they judge because of the accountability, or whatever, or the scrutiny that they might face after the fight. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting, but I think there's definitely, more pros and cons, and I think that it's anytime you can have a situation where there's more pros and cons, it might not be such a bad thing. So I think it's good. And speaking of judging, Chris Lieben's judging now. I reached out to him, left me on red. Thanks, Chris.
Come on, Chris, bro. What you doing, man?
I know.
We had your boy B South on.
I told him. I was like, we had Kenny Florian on and Bobby Southworth, and we just love to chop it up with you. It's like, I'm not really trying to get into any of the drama that happened. I just like to, have you on because now you're a judge, and that's something a lot of fighters want to see. And I thought about that too. Maybe he can't, but the reason why I hit him up is because I just saw him on another podcast.
Oh,
so yeah.
Well, then never mind.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah. Come on, Chris, bro.
But I thought it would be great, like, because even you've mentioned it before. You think more fighters should become judges when their career is over because they've been in there, right? So I thought
it's kind of crazy seeing
Chris Lieben of all people, right? He just judged his first fight. I think it was in Nevada. It's like a UFC 79, like Fight Night 79.
Talk about somebody that would just plod forward and throw a right hand.
Right.
Just dink, 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 boop, drop people. I'm like, dude.
And the dude could get wasted and then go the next morning and be the hardest worker in the room. Like, that's special in itself, man.
Yeah. That dude, special specimen for sure. He's got a big old head too, man.
Yeah, in his hands. That's
In
what
his hands,
Florian was saying.
Yeah.
Kenny was saying his hands were huge. But, yeah, so I think that's cool for Chris. Still happy for you, even though you left me on red guy. But moving on, you know, your shirt is giving me a good segue here. You have Sweet Science on there. And Sweet Science Lab, okay. Yeah. Well, we'll just stick with the Sweet Science.
This is my boxing gym in Hoboken.
What now?
Hoboken.
Hoboken. Where's
Hoboken, New Jersey.
Oh,
gotcha. Right beside. It's right beside the city. It's right beside New York City, Jersey City, all that. So, I drive up to Hoboken and train boxing in this little bitty private gym, and Hoboken with my coach. My coach was part of Arturo Gotti's camp back in the day. So if you don't know who Arturo Gotti is, he fought Mickey Ward. So if you look at the Mickey Ward, Arturo Gotti trilogy, they fought 3 times. Supposed to be fight a century. Yeah.
Was that movie The Fighter based around Mickey Ward?
Mickey Ward, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Great movie.
Yeah.
So
anyways, what were you saying about what was the segue?
So segue, Sweet Science, like, you know, martial arts fighting is a science, right? And it's more than just piecing together combos and working on, you know, kicks and punches. There's a lot of other things that go into it, like nutrition. And, you know, something that you are very experienced with. You're a very seasoned guy in that department, you know, from doing MMA for so long.
Well, man, when I started fighting and, you know, I started fighting in Alaska, first of all. Yeah, it's Alaska. So, like, you know, it was before you had the internet, and, yeah, you had MMA forums, you had magazines you could buy, different things like that. But for the most part, you know, you didn't have as much information shoved down your throat. Let's say Instagram, you get, like, reels now. You know, you'll just get ads about a nutrition supplement or a workout program or ice baths or a sauna or different things like that. When I was coming up, I had to find ways to, you know, that wasn't ice baths and shit like that wasn't the end thing. Now everybody's taking ice baths.
Right.
So I used to take ice baths before a fight, the night before.
Okay.
So what I had read was that ice baths drive out lactic acid and doesn't make you a sore, right? So we all know when you get lactic acid buildup, that's what, like, let's say you're doing squats, right? I got 135-pound weight, you know. When we start getting to the 10 rep range of 135 pounds, 12, 13, even if we can make it that far, but when the legs start burning and they feel like, holy shit, that's lactic acid.
Right.
So what my goal was what my goal was
you almost did it again.
I know, I almost did it. What my goal was to, you know, be on top of everything, right? So we'd be at hotels and I would be going to the ice thing.
Oh, yeah.
Filling it up, coming back, dumping it. I'd be by myself, dude. I'd be in there up to here because I didn't know anything about going up to your neck or anything like that, but I'd get in there and I would sit for, like, now I only do like 3 to 5 minutes in an ice bath. Then I was doing 15.
Does there come a point when you're sitting there for too long and it's actually not good for you?
I was told by a good friend of mine, Brandon Powell, who's a Wim Hof method instructor, that when you start shivering, it's time to get out.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's your body's response to, like, trying to warm you up, warm you back up. And it's like, because it's like, you can't control it. You just start you just start shivering.
Yeah.
Right? So I was always told when you start shivering, it's probably time to get out. And so, but I mean, when I first started, I didn't know how to control my breath.
Right.
I didn't know how to control the tenseness. You didn't want to get in there. You get in and you're like freezing up and everything, right? So, but I would do that at the beginning, but I read it. I read, hey, don't, you want to try to take an ice bath to drive out the lactic acid. I don't know why I would do it the night before my fights, but I just would. Mm-hmm. And it just felt right. And I would win and I would do things, especially early off. And some way I got out of that. But I've been taking ice baths for a long time. I mean, I just got a memory on Facebook.
Yeah.
13 years ago, I was taking an ice bath
to
prepare me because I had these training, hard workout session, went and took an ice bath, and then I had MMA rounds that night. And I was like, I got to recover before my MMA rounds. It was 13 years ago, dude.
Dang.
And nowadays, people are getting these cold plunges, saunas, and they're starting to catch up on all these things that I was doing 13 years ago that I really didn't even know a science behind.
Right.
Now I do. Now I understand what's going on. Now, when you go into an ice bath, what's happening is my blood vessels are shrinking so small to where there's barely any blood flow coming through there. That's why you get really cold, and your legs go numb or whatnot, right? Because you don't have a whole lot of you're constricted. So, but when you get out and you start warming your body up, it's like kinking a hose, right? Like think of a water hose. You kink it, the water stops flowing. Right. Or it comes out, it's just trickling out.
You're right.
But when I undo it, it goes, it just comes bursting out. And when we start warming our body back up after we get out of the ice bath, that's what's doing that. That's what our blood vessels are opening up, and it's just a fresh blood coming to your body. Gotcha. And so what's in that blood is nutrients, all kind of different things to make your body start healing itself and start the process with healing. And I think, more people need to do that. I know I need to do more ice baths. When I was fighting, I was doing 3 a week. Do 3 a week. I'd do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday to help me stay on, on the path to, so I can keep training, because I train really hard and 2 or 3 times a day, and I would need to recover. So that's one way it helped me recover was doing ice baths, and, compression therapy is another one. So now they make Normatec boots or the Normatec outfits.
Yeah.
Which I have. I have the Normatec legs, I have the hips, and I have the arm sets that Megan got for me for my birthday.
Yeah, it's like a full body cast, man.
Yeah. You can only wear one at a time, though. Unfortunately, I want the whole
put them
thing
all on at once. Yeah.
It'd be blood. But
so are those like does it massage?
So what it does, it's again, I was talking about the constricting stuff. So what that does is it compresses, which helps. And there's sometimes I got the hip set on, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't feel my legs because my legs are just like tingling. The blood flow's cut off of them, and then it'll just let the air out and kind of it releases, and then you start feeling the blood. You feel the blood rushing in and taking everything back over. So they use these outfits. A lot of MMA fighters do for recovery. Helps you get your legs back. Sometimes helps you recover your legs back. Helps your arms recover. So those are little bitty things that we can do, that'll benefit us.
Yeah.
You don't need that much money to put ice in an ice bath, right? What I would, a couple things you can do is you can freeze Tupperware containers.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
Yep. Freeze Tupperware containers. Put them in the freezer, and then when you're ready to go, man, you just take pop the lid off, put the whole thing in the tub. Well, instead of just trying to beat the ice out, right? just put the whole thing in the tub, and eventually it's going to melt enough to where you can take the Tupperware off, and then, you know, you'll have this big block of ice floating around.
Right.
But if you do lots of those, you know, throughout, and you just keep it kind of circulating. Yeah, you stir it around with your hand, I guess, and it'll get cold, man. And that's just the best way instead of going to buy
ice.
Ice, because you're gonna need, if you want to do an ice bath and you want to do one properly, you're going to need at least 10 bags of ice.
Jeez.
At least.
So what is the desired temperature of the water? I know you mentioned
I think Andrew Huberman had talked about this, and he's saying something about as long as it's under 65 degrees and you're in it for at least 3 to 5 minutes or 11 minutes a week.
Okay.
Up to 11 minutes a week, you'll see the benefits of, you know, of muscle recovery, less sore joints, different things like that, and better. I mean, it makes you feel good too, you know. So it's like the dopamine rush that you get after you take an ice bath is awesome, right? Because you're just like, yeah, you feel like I'm refreshed. Sometimes, dude, I'll feel the blood running through my veins because, you know, it's so cold and the warm, fresh blood is coming in and heating things up. So, but anyways, instead of grabbing, you know, 10 bags of ice to try to
use Tupperware.
Just use your Tupperware, or you can freeze bottles of water. So I lived in an apartment doing this, man. Like I was in an apartment, and I'd have, you know, I didn't have an extra freezer or anything like that. I just had my refrigerator freezer, and I mean, it's packed full of Tupperware with ice with water in it. But that's what I would do.
Right.
And it worked out, you know. So that's just like one way we can help recover.
Right.
Like get our body back to going. Now, doing ice bath, that's what sucks, right? You know,
I've still never done one.
it's part of the mental battle, you know. You look at the ice and you're like, oh my God, this is going to be so cold. And then when you get in, it's another battle.
Yeah.
Right. And staying in. Yeah. And then at the end, what I do is I duck my head under and then come back up and try to catch my breath and recover my breath back to normal instead of I try to keep it calm. That's all mental stuff, which alone, again, helps with the fighting.
Right.
You know, just that mental battle that you have to go through in order to get in the ice is tough.
Yeah.
You know, so that's one way to help recover yourself. Eating the right foods. You know, I'm not, they say that carbs like breads, pastas, gluten, anything with gluten in it causes inflammation. Inflammation is good sometimes. Like if I have an injury, inflammation goes to it to try to help heal that.
Right.
Whatever it is, right? Now, if I'm eating foods and it causes inflammation, it shouldn't happen. Right? Foods shouldn't cause inflammation in your body and cause your joints to hurt and different things like that. I can tell the difference. Some people can't, and some people might, disagree with me on here in the comments. But for me, bread, pastas, anything processed, it makes my joints hurt. It makes my neck hurt. That's why my neck's hurting right now, and I'm a little beat up because obviously I'm not fighting anymore.
Right.
So it's like I can eat, not whatever I want because I want to be able to train the next day.
Well, right.
But if I go
you're not counting macros.
I'm not, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not like trying. I would watch the scale for 11 years, man. 11 years. And I mean, yeah, I would go off the deep end and stuff like that. But for the most part, I stayed on a diet to try to keep my weight in check. Because if I can gain weight easy, like
Same.
I'll get fat.
Yep.
Real quick.
I can lose weight pretty easily too.
Yeah, same here. And Megan gets so mad, dude. I'll be like working out for a week, and then next thing you know, I got a 6-pack, and she was like, "How do you do this?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just think
genetics.
my body just knows what's going on, man."
Yeah.
You
But
know?
it also sucks being able to put weight on so easily. You know, you have 1 week when you're on vacation, you come back, you're like, yo, I don't even feel like I ate 15 pounds of food. Like, where's this coming from?
And it's usually like holding on to water.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, because we eat so shitty, we're not drinking a lot of water, which is flushing out those toxins.
Eating a lot of salt.
Eating a lot of salt, or foods that have high sodium in it. Right. So sodium's not bad for us.
No.
It's actually, it helps us not cramp. Magnesium's really good. So all these little things, sodium and magnesium, we need those things. Right. Now, a week out from a fight, you shouldn't be taking any sodium because, you know, that's going to help you cut the weight a little bit easier, if you will. But making it through workouts and holding on to water a little bit is okay sometimes. You just have to watch it coming down to the end of your you know, weight cut or your fight, you know. But
are there any techniques that maybe were once thought to be true but turns out maybe not the best for recovery, you know?
I can't say recovery, but I will say about cutting weight, there was one that everybody thought
was the alcohol in the water.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys, I talked about this in one of the other prior podcasts.
Yeah, for anybody who might be a new listener, it's good to know.
It's good. This is good information. So back in the day, you know, I got to Kurt Pellegrino's up in New Jersey, and my first fight's in Bellator. And he's like, yeah, we got to this is what we're going to do. I'm like, huh? He's like, yeah, this is what Kenny told him to do this. Kenny Florian did. And I was like, okay, like, let's do it then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, bro, I'm like, it's working, you know? So what I had to do was dump Epsom salt in the bath, and then you put rubbing alcohol, 90% rubbing alcohol.
The smell of that just kind of makes me want to throw
90%
up.
of rubbing alcohol.
Ugh.
Some people said you needed to use the wintergreen one.
What, for the smell?
I don't know, but pour the wintergreen one in there. It's supposed to, I don't know.
I bet it cleared the sinuses.
Dude, it did, but it got me to a point to where, like, it's just, like, bad for you. Yeah. Like, I think that I might have got drunk, you know, from the alcohol absorbing in my skin. You know, this is all bro science, what I'm talking about. But nowadays, if I'm going to cut weight, I'm going to do it in a jacuzzi. Or a hot bath. I'm going to chill, nothing in it, just water. A lot of people don't know this, but you'll sweat and lose weight sitting in a jacuzzi for 30 minutes. You'll sweat and lose weight sitting in a hot bathtub for 30 minutes. You will. I promise you. Especially if you're a fighter and you've been water loading throughout that week, meaning intaking 2 to 3 gallons of water a day. And then, you know, at night, I might take a 30-minute bath. And that happens throughout the weight cutting week.
Right.
And then the day before weigh-ins, I'll do the same thing. You won't drink as much water.
Right.
You'll probably drink a gallon. And you'll try to finish that a little early, and then sit in the tub. You know, sometimes I will go walk on a treadmill, but sit in the tub, just chilling, listening to music instead of sitting in a sauna, roasting my head.
Right.
You know,
at least it can be relaxing in a tub.
Yeah, at least I can be relaxed in a tub and just chill. If I am in a sauna, one thing that bothers me the most is breathing in hot air.
Yeah,
right? It's like usually when you're
suffocating.
It feels like suffocating. Think about it as when you're here rolling, right? And it's humid as fuck in there.
Yeah, well,
and you're trying to breathe, and you're like,
yeah,
air feels thick.
Yeah, right.
It feels like you're not able to get any air in your lungs sometimes. So, a cool little trick we used to do is put ice in a bag, and then we open the ice up. So think a plastic bag. Mm-hmm. Or you can put it in a towel, a white towel or something like that. I mean, lots of ice. So when I'm in there, I'll put the bag right here or the ice right here, and I'll breathe on it, and it'll blow cold air back into my face. So I can, or I'll just breathe into it like that.
Hmm.
And that'll help you get through the sauna rounds a little bit longer.
Right.
If you're having trouble, if you have to do a sauna, you know, my second Bellator fight, I showed up to Atlantic City a day early so I could start the weight cutting process. And somebody got us a room somewhere. They only had a shower. So I wasn't able to do my bath routine, which completely screwed me up.
Yeah.
And, you know, I ended up having to wait till the next day to cut 14 pounds.
Dang.
Yeah.
You ever
the
put
day
like
of
a trash bag on to get in a hot shower?
No. The day of weigh-ins, I cut 14 pounds. Yeah. And that was rough, man.
And then you fight the next day.
Yep.
Mm.
So a lot of people, they're like, oh, the fight's on the scale. The fight's on the scale. It's like, yeah, it is, man.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's like, it makes you not want to fight whenever you're that just depleted. But back to recovery, food, man, is just like one of the biggest things. Is like my water intake. What is my water intake? Am I drinking alcohol? Am I drinking sodas? Am I drinking sweet tea? Am I drinking a lot of sugary things? That doesn't work with fighting.
Right.
Doesn't work to like get your body right back into where it needs to be.
Right.
Like eating that way. So it's, you know, lots of water, man, for recovery. What I just started doing is the element package, LMNT.
The ones you have in the front.
Yep. So we sell them up front. Dude, those things are awesome. It gives me energy.
Really?
Like if I drink them before training, or if I drink it when I first wake up in the morning, I feel better. I don't know. And there's 1,000 milligrams of sodium in that.
I might give one of those a try tomorrow morning.
They're tasty, man. Have you ever tried one?
No.
They're good. We got some. I'll give you one more when we leave.
Cool.
But yeah, they're really good. And the thing about it is for MMA fighters is you should be, you know, hydrating before your training, not during or after. Yeah, during and after, but especially before. If you go into a training session and you're not properly hydrated, you might get injured. You just might get injured, man. Your muscles need to be hydrated. You know, you need to have some, you know, I guess liquid water fluid on your body. You know, so lube your joints and all the things. So supplementation.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. What are some supplements that you take? Now, I'm assuming magnesium, like vitamin C, stuff like that. But like, what are some that, you know, you may not necessarily? Because I know you're like I don't want to call you a health freak, but you're pretty holistic guy. Yeah,
I am. I don't like putting anything, you know, foreign in my body that's not natural, if you will. So I try to. All the supplements that I take are usually from On It because they get their stuff tested by a third party.
Right.
And so, you know, everything that goes in it is usually clean. I don't know if you heard about John Jones blaming the German
for the
company.
Picograms.
Yeah. For the steroids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So what they say is, and I've heard this on Joe Rogan talk about this, the big vats that the supplements companies have.
They're used for so many different things.
That
so they'll have residue from prior. Yeah. Yep.
So you could get steroids.
Sean O'Malley is another. I mean, because obviously that kid is not on steroids.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And they were able to prove his. So yeah. Exactly. I know exactly what you're saying.
So you can get trace amounts. That GAT, that German, I don't even know, German athletic something. I don't know what the GAT stands for that John Jones was taking. I've taken their supplements back in the day, you know, but that was before I became a little bit smarter about the things I take now, and the things I put in my body now.
And ultimately before USADA.
Yeah, before USADA. So I was, protein helps kind of recover your muscles a little bit. So the building blocks for muscle is protein.
Right.
Protein helps fuel those muscles.
And clean carbs too, right?
And clean carbs helps fuel those muscles.
Right.
And not necessarily fuel them, but rebuild them
Right.
as protein. Fueling the muscles and ATP is what your muscles feed off of.
Okay.
That ATP is that energy production that you need. And so, yeah, that's where the carbs and carbohydrates come from, is fueling your ATP system with that.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, in terms of like going back to, well, I guess technically, that's that emergency alert thing I was telling you about. It was a little early. I didn't think it was supposed to happen until 2:20. So everybody watching this right now, at this moment, everyone just got the same thing.
Yeah.
I
Everyone.
had to talk about that on the radio today. There's like a conspiracy theory around it.
Conspiracy theory is when this goes off, everybody that got the COVID shot is supposed to
It's like nanotechnologies or something. It's supposed to activate in your body.
YouTube's going to put the little thing on the bottom of us saying the COVID-19 things we're saying is false.
Yeah, that's the conspiracy. But so
hilarious.
going back to foods, right? Now recently, Rob, if Rob's watching this,
Big Rob.
he told me this, and my girlfriend said the same thing before he had actually mentioned it, that broccoli and beans cause inflammation in the stomach. And so broccoli, I remember I mentioned this to you not too long ago, and this is true. It's an engineered vegetable.
Food.
It's not a natural thing.
I didn't even know that.
The guy who created it, his last name is Broccoli, and he created something else too. I cannot remember for the life of me what it is, but it was like cauliflower and something else that he mixed and it created this thing named broccoli. But Rob was telling me that broccoli and beans, he cut them out of his diet completely because they will cause inflammation in the stomach. And at the time I was like, damn, I really like beans. I like broccoli. Those are like in my diet.
What kind of beans? Just all beans?
I don't know. Like,
maybe that's why people fart when they on beans.
And see, that's another thing you brought up. Anything that makes you fart is not good for you. Man, I wish I could remember exactly what they say, and I don't want to misquote because then I'll sound like an idiot. But yeah, they both, him and my girlfriend both said, like, if it's making you fart, that's not good for you. Like that old saying, beans, good for your heart. More you eat, the more you fart. Like, apparently that's bullshit.
Well, the food industry has been painting this picture that, Kellogg's cereal
is good for you.
Yeah. Did you see that Japan just banned Kellogg's cereal products?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Because it has this ingredient in it that causes cancer. It's
shocker,
starts with a
right?
D. Yeah.
And California is working on banning Flaming Hot Cheetos and any
why
food.
the flaming?
Apparently, there's I guess the amounts of red dye in that one specifically or something. Like they're working on banning red dye in foods because it causes cancer. It's like, well, I mean, shit. You've been pumping this into, not into everybody, but like making it widely available for so long. Like, it's like,
yeah.
I think the damage has already been done. The diabetes.
Maybe it's for the next generation. I think about that a lot. So like my son, 20 years from now. Think about 20 years ago.
20 years from now, people will probably be eating food that's like what we would call like an MRE. Have you ever seen American Horror Story?
Yeah.
All right. Have you watched the one about the apocalypse? And they get these cubes. They're literally at dinner. They have these little cubes, but this little cube has all the nutrients that your body needs in it.
Is it when they're underground? Yeah, I remember
nuclear
that.
apocalypse.
Yeah, I remember that.
So like that is what I think about like in the future. Like, it's kind of like when you go to Europe and you go to eat somewhere and you see the portion, you're like, damn.
Like, what's this?
This isn't going to fill me up. Yeah. It's kind of going to be like the same thing. Like I can see it in the future. They're going to be like, well, back in my day, we had a big old bowl, and they're like,
we're going to Disney, obviously, and Disney in at the end of this month, and we're going to Space 220, which is this restaurant. It's really hard to get into. If you guys check it out, it's called Space 220, and what it is, it's in Epcot, which is like the Tomorrowland almost. Right. But you simulate that you're dining 220 miles in outer space.
Oh shit.
So you get in this elevator in this little room or whatever, and you can like look down, and it's a video, and it's
looks like you're blasting off.
Yeah, you're on an elevator.
Oh, sick.
You leave Epcot, you can see, and it's going so fast, dude. And you look up, and you can see the
like space
and everything, and where you're going, and you can see the elevator shaft that you're on, right? And it's like goes to this all the way up to this restaurant that's 220 miles in outer space. Yeah, so when you get off the elevator and you go in, it's got like it's simulating that you're at some space station.
Mm-hmm.
And so inside, the walls or the windows looks like outer space, dude. You can see the Earth, and there's be an astronaut floating in outer space or whatever with a little thing on. I'll show you some videos.
So when you say it's hard to get in, like, is there like a waiting list? Or?
All right, so starting 60 days out from because you have to be able to get into Epcot,
mm-hmm.
but starting 60 days out from the day you want to go, you can start making reservations to restaurants.
Oh.
So this restaurant, it's so hard to get into.
I bet, yeah.
You think about how many millions of people go to Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
But this, like, one restaurant is so hard to get into because, it's a cool experience, right? But anyways, it's a 3-course meal, and their meals look like that. They look like they're like futuristic, but
very small portions.
Small portions, yeah. Because it's 3.
It better be a 3-course meal.
3-course meal, yeah, dude. But it's a pretty cool experience, man. I'm really excited for it.
So, did you guys plan on going there and then just like, oh wow, we can get in, or did you base going there on if you'd be able to get in?
No, so we have been trying to get into that restaurant for a while, but this one, it's like we had our time, we had a calendar, we had it set to the day we need to go try, and we tried on one day, and it was already gone. So we had to move our day that we were going to go to Epcot back.
So you could go to that restaurant?
So we could. Because we were going to go to Epcot on a Monday,
mm-hmm.
but now we're going on a Thursday because that Monday was Tuesday. All those were booked, we changed it to a Thursday. And that one just so happened to be.
So you just reorganized the trip based on when you'd be able to get in.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, Disney's wild the way they do things, man. And the dinner reservation things is crazy too, because like I don't know where I want to eat, but now like usually like that's the ongoing thing with your significant others. Like, what you want to eat?
Yeah.
I don't know what you want to eat. I don't know what you want to eat.
Yep.
And it goes back and forth. And it's like, pick something. I'm like, no, you pick. I picked yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's this ongoing back and forth battle. So it's like weird, you already got your dinner. Dude, we have dinner reservations set up every single day.
That's cool.
Every single day.
The only thing I don't like about dinner reservations,
for dining in.
Right.
So like at the parks.
Right.
Right. Usually at the parks, I don't really eat sitting down because it takes away time from being in the parks or whatnot.
Right.
But you need.
And if things don't go according to plan that day and you're running late, then other things can get cut out just so you can make that reservation.
Yeah. Because you'll get charged, dude. If you don't cancel your reservation within 2 hours, you get charged.
It's the same. It's the same way in London. Well, I don't know if I can say with a lot of places, but with a place that me and my girlfriend had a reservation the last time we were there, that day was a busy day. Mm-hmm. Busy day. Like that morning, we woke up, got a little bit of breakfast at the hotel, went to Windsor because I wanted her to see Windsor Castle because she's infatuated with history, right? So I wanted her to see Windsor Castle. So we did that, ate a good breakfast there, and then we had reservations at this nice Italian restaurant that night. And we go back into London, and then we go downtown to Oxford Street. We're doing some shopping or whatever, and then we have to get all the way back to our hotel, change, and we planned on dressing up. Like, that's what I had that velour jacket for. I was gonna be pimping in London, and we were running so behind because of the trains and everything else that we just got back, and like I think I wore the same exact thing, and she just threw something on real quick. She took a shower and we left. But I mean, it's cool, but Man, I was just like, after that, I was like, we can make reservations for one night or something at somewhere nice, but I just don't want to because I just feel like, you know.
That was when we flew into Vegas, we had reservations and for this place called, man, what the freak is it? Best Friend. It's, I don't know if you know who Roy Choi is. He's like this, some famous chef. But anyways, but he's a Korean dude, and so he has Korean food, but it's kind of like, it's, you know, hip and stuff. It's really freaking good.
It's
man.
hip.
Yeah, it's like this hip thing. So, anyways, man, we was supposed to arrive in Vegas at 3. We get to Vegas at 3. Stroller's gone. No stroller. We gate checked it, everything.
Oh, wow.
It's gone. It's not even anywhere to be found.
Right.
Megan, fortunately, put an air tag in it.
I remember you telling me that.
She's tracking it and everything. They flew it back to where we came from. So we didn't have we were at the airport an extra 2 hours with Southwest trying to figure out where our freaking stroller was. And I had to keep calling. I'm like, can I move my reservations back an hour, you know? And move them back an hour. I had to call them again and be like, I just need to cancel. I didn't cancel. And they didn't charge me.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they didn't charge me.
Nice.
Yellowfin, on the other hand, charged the shit out of me. They charged me $25 a person, and I put 3 people on there because I included my son, Bodie. They charged me 75 bones, man.
Dang.
Yep. $75 for nothing. For nothing, dude.
Well,
for an empty seat.
Won't be going there again, huh?
Nope.
Fuck you, Yellowfin.
Oh, Yellowfin.
That the guy's name. This might be a bad segue, but the guy Roy Choi, you said.
Yeah.
So I won't say it's a weird name. It's a unique name.
Unique.
And speaking of unique names,
For sure.
This weekend. That was the segue. You can take it over from here.
This weekend.
Yeah.
What's going on this weekend?
Seminar.
Oh shoot, man! I totally forgot, dude. Yeah, This
I don't know the guy, and I don't want to butcher his name.
Joao Miao.
Joao Miao. That's so now you can see why Roy Choi made me think of
Joao Miao. So
big deal in jiu-jitsu.
Paulo,
right?
the Miao brothers. We'll just say that this is only one of the brothers. Joao. He'll be here Sunday, and which is unreal, man. Sunday we're gonna have multiple-time world champ, multiple-time Pan Am champ, European champ. Like, I mean,
when you say multiple time, like you posted the list, and it was like this long.
Yeah,
of how many times he's won first place in a world
in all belt colors, just about.
Right.
You know, so the guy has been training. I mean, for a long time. Fortunately, he's doing Charlotte Open, and that's where I'll be. Sunday, I'll be at Charlotte Open. I got 2 kids competing, and I got Ethan.
So who's gonna be here to hold on
as
like
well?
Tony?
Tony and Grayson will be heading everything up.
Cool.
But yeah, 11 a.m. We got Joao Miao will be here. People probably like put in the comments I'm saying it wrong, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
But it's only $60.
60 doll hairs,
and it's
man.
what, like 2? Is it an hour?
Probably 2 hours.
2 hours.
And then he's doing. He's got 2 privates already booked. After that,
word.
Yep. So it's definitely.
It's gonna be worth it for him for sure. Like money wise, you know, he's already near the area, and hopefully, this is in the gi. Hopefully they'll come back in.
So
he's
going to be doing Charlotte Open. I mean, Charleston Open at the end of this month. Probably have him here for a no-gi seminar.
And maybe we can get him to jump on the pod with us.
Yes.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
We might have to set it up on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah. And also, speaking of upcoming guests, we're going to have Francis Marshall on next week.
Yep.
If you don't know who Francis is, he was on the UFC Contender Series, had a killer fight against an undefeated guy. He got a contract after he won that fight. And then he won his first UFC fight in the UFC. And then he's been on a 2-fight little skid these past 2 fights. But old training partner of mine, but maybe not really. He was a kid.
I want to say, yeah,
he was just a little kid.
He was young.
Man.
He's pretty young, right?
Man, he was. So let's say I was at Kurt's back in I left in 2014. I left Kurtz, and Francis was a brand new blue belt, I think, at the time. Now he's a brand new brown belt.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that was 2014. It's almost 10 years ago, and he's only got 2 belts. Yeah. So he was, when I first met him, he was like 13, 14 years old. Big Coke bottle glasses, man, riding a beach cruiser to the gym. And
is he in his 30s yet?
Oh no, dude.
Yeah.
So I mean, he was like 13, 14, and like.
Oh, you're saying 10 years ago he was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's in mid 20s.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He's young kid still. Fireman. So it's actually I don't know if you heard Michael Bisping gave him the nickname when he was announcing his fight. He was like Francis is a fire. He's like, Francis Fire Marshall.
I see what he did there. Old Bisping.
Francis Fire Marshall.
So is that did he run with that?
I think he did.
Huh,
I'm pretty sure
he
he ran with that. But
hi, MMA Fire Marshall.
So another thing, Francis came here in Myrtle Beach and was supposed to fight at Warfare when he was an amateur, and the show got canceled, like the day before.
Man,
the day of weigh-ins.
That's been happening in South Carolina a good bit recently.
Yeah.
You know, for whatever reason. But yeah, I'm stoked to have him on, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool.
Pick his brain, you know.
Yeah, he I don't know if you guys follow him, but check him out, Francis Marshall on Instagram. He is constantly working out, man. He's got his little garage set up as a gym. He's a full-time firefighter, fireman.
Yeah,
he's a full-time fire marshal. And works and fighting in the UFC too, actively. Yeah. So it's he doesn't have anything on the books right now, but it'll be good to talk to him, catch up, and
it's probably the perfect time to talk to him when he doesn't have something on the books.
Yeah,
you know,
feeling rushed.
Because I imagine being a fighter and in camp, like things like this. I mean, if it's for like ESPN or some big thing, then it'd be worth it.
Story.
But you know, taking time for the #1 combat sports podcast that he's never heard of. You know, it might be like, yeah. So we'll probably get him at a good time.
Yeah.
So yeah, stoked about that. Good things coming up in the future. You guys are still doing the embedded series, so that was pretty cool. And you plan to continue that up until
to the end of the fight, and then after that we got Austin Coleman's fighting December 8th at the Battery in Atlanta, so right outside the Atlanta Braves stadium.
What promotion is that?
It's called NFC.
Oh, okay. I've heard of it.
NFC, yeah. And they're a pretty good promotion out of Atlanta. They've been around for a long, since the early 2000s. They've been around. They weren't called the NFC then. They were called Wild Bill's Fight Night.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, that's right. We had talked about that.
Yeah. And so he's got that December 8th. He's fighting a brown belt. We also got an amateur on that card, Josh Cook. He's 3-1 as an amateur, and fighting another 135er, looking to move 4-1, man. So
right on, and we got Clay this weekend too, right?
Huh?
Clay.
Clay's fighting for a kickboxing championship, I think, or his first pro kickboxing fight.
That's going down in Durham, I think.
In Durham, this weekend. So
a lot of exciting
we got
shit.
Charlotte Open, IBJJF Charlotte Open on Saturday and Sunday. I got Ethan's brown belt competing in Nogi on Sunday.
Sweet, man.
Yeah.
A lot of cool things to look forward to. And you know, we're just heading into that time of year. It's always a fun time, especially in the fight game, because that's when the UFC starts to put together some crazy cards.
Yeah, end of year card.
Yeah, so it's a good time to be a combat sports fan. I watched One Championship the other day for the first time in a long time. Saw Danielle Kelly win the belt.
Yeah, how cool is that, man?
That was a cool match.
Hard-working lady.
Yeah. She's been here a couple times, done some seminars in Myrtle Beach too. Yeah. That was like when I first got started. I didn't even know who she was. Like, we just like, oh, I'm going to Danielle Kelly's. So I was like, cool,
man.
It's like, sweet. Sounds fun, dog.
It was Lucas probably.
Say what?
Said that. Lucas said that.
Yeah, Lucas.
Yeah, Lucas.
Yeah. And that was before he had a girlfriend, so I know why he was going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because Danielle Kelly.
Maybe there's a chance.
Yeah. He's going to try to bolo roll.
Samsonite.
Yeah. Shit.
Have you guys Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah. That's a good movie, by the way. But anyways, yeah, let's wrap this thing up, man.
Anyways, yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's please go down below, hit like, maybe throw in a comment there, maybe share or something. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe.
It's free.
We appreciate it. Yep, it's all free 99. And the more you share, the more we grow. The more we grow, the more we're going to have bigger and better people on, and just continue from there, man.
It's something that I thought about that I'm going to do. I don't know. I think we're at like 100, maybe like just below 150 subs. When we get to 200, I'm going to do a giveaway of some sort. But I don't know what it's going to be yet, but it'll be something cool. Like I'm not going to do some lame ass giveaway. Whether it's like some merch, like some Academy merch or like some Locked In merch, or if you're local in the area, maybe I'll just pay for a month of your membership here or something. Like, so, you know, if you just watch and you haven't subscribed, just click it. I don't even care if you don't hit the notification bell. I don't. I mean, cool if you do, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't, whatever, just hit the subscribe button. And then, you know, at 200, we'll think of something. We'll do a giveaway. It'll be cool.
For sure.
All right. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And until next time.
Out.